After losing 3 games in a row, the Commanders look to get back on track. And boy, oh boy, for the Tennessee Titans, just what the doctor ordered after stuffing our faces and bellies for Thanksgiving, Commanders feasted on the Tennessee Titans, dismantling them 42-19, getting their 8th win of the season, heading into the bye week. It's the Washington Commanders Postgame Show. You guys know the drill. Step on that subscribe button. Hit stick that like button. Bulldoze that bell. Sign off in the comment section down below. Let us know how you're feeling about the Commanders getting back on track. And they survive like warriors. Washington Commanders Postgame Show coming to you now. Another Sunday, another NFL Sunday Fun Day, another week of NFL football. It's the Flex Zone Podcast. Most importantly, the Washington Commanders post-game show right here on the Flex Zone. Only place giving you sports how you want it, Crevonte.
When you need it.
Washington Commanders get a big-time bounce-back win after losing 3 in a row. Defeat the Tennessee Titans 42-19. And pretty much from the first kickoff and first whistle, Crevonte, it was pretty much hammer time down at Northwest Stadium.
Finish him, Daddy.
Finger licking good special. That's what I'm talking about.
It's good to score 42 points, Crevonte. Tied for the highest points this season with that Arizona game back in week 2, I believe.
Yeah. It seemed like from the word go or the word kickoff, the Commanders came out ready to play. Game plan executed very well, offensively, defensively, and most importantly, special teams. So a full team victory. It wasn't no worries. It was no worries at all in this game.
Crevonte, I do have some news and notes on the day. So let me get the correct number here. The 267 rushing yards were the most in a game since 2012. December 30th, 2012 against the Dallas Cowboys. As mentioned, tied most points in a game since week 2 against the Arizona Cardinals. Zach Ertz, 8th season with 50 or more receptions. 12 straight games scoring in the first quarter, which also ties a franchise record as well. And Bobby Wagner, 13th season of 100 or more tackles, ties the great Ray Lewis, one behind for former Washington Redskin, Washington football player London Fletcher. And on 3rd and 1 this season, Commanders are 18 of 21, Crevonte. Threw a lot of numbers at you. Just taking my notes during the game. I know that was a lot to digest. How you feel about some of those numbers?
These are very eye-popping numbers if we compare it to previous years, because our offense has been lacking, for the most part, and getting it on the run on the ground. You get it on the ground. Typically, the name of the game, you run the football effectively. You stop the run. That's usually a formula for victory. And offensively, how many yards? You said 260. Yikes! I ain't even realize it was that much. But led by
91 in the first quarter, Crevonte. I meant to add that 91 in the first quarter.
Well, Brian Robinson had a 40-yarder, had a 40-yard touchdown on the first drive. You know what I'm saying? So you know that kind of kicked things off to like, hey, this is how this game is going to be. And again, I've said this before, and honestly, I wasn't sure that he was going to play, because of his he had a ankle injury. I'm going to say last week. And I wasn't sure if he was going to play, which is the real reason why I went against them in this game. But you see, Brian Robinson changes his offense like drastically. Like we look a lot tougher as a team when Brian Robinson is running the football. Like we look bigger, we look meaner, and we look effective in the running game. And that's just, Brian Robinson is really key to this offense. And then nothing against Austin Eckler or Rodriguez, because Rodriguez had a pretty good game too. But when Brian Robinson is on, this offense looks crazy, like crazy dynamic. That's if we look at the games where he played versus the games he didn't play, I'm sure the numbers will support that. But starting off the game with a 40-yard rushing touchdown is just what the doctor ordered. And of course, Jane Daniels had a phenomenal game, you know what I'm saying, as well. So we was clicking on all cylinders on offense, and defensively, it wasn't much of a threat from the Titans. Will Levis and the offense did not have the showing that they had last week at all. So yeah, it definitely worked out perfectly. But Brian Robinson, I wish I'd have known that he was going to be a go. If I knew he was going to be a go, I probably would have went the other way. Because I thought Eckler and Robinson was going to be out, and I was like, we got to be able to run the ball. Brian Robinson's in. It's pretty safe to say we're going to be effective at least on offense.
Look at you those injuries, because his running mate in the backfield, we're going to see a lot more Brian Robinson down the stretch. Austin Eckler placed on IR. Crevonte so misses a minimum of 4 games. He wouldn't be back until the last week of the season at the earliest. Also, no Marshawn Lattimore. Again, Crevonte, I guess at this point, it's after the bye or bust with him. And any other injury news for today's game?
I figured Lattimore wasn't going to play this week either, because I heard he's been progressing. He went from, it's funny, it's the wildest thing. They said he was doubtful for the game, and I was like, wow. Usually when somebody says doubtful, that's usually a bad thing. But when you go from out to doubtful, it's really an upgrade. You know what I'm saying? So he's progressing slowly but surely. But I mean, there's no reason to rush him, because we're not playing a top-notch quarterback or wide receiver duo, until we play the Eagles again, pretty much. So the hamstring is a funny injury. So you got to play it cautiously, got to play it safe. But he is progressing well, which is good. And the plan the whole time was probably for him to play his first game against the New Orleans Saints. That's probably what it was the whole time, and we just never knew. So him being out, I figured he was going to be out, and they was going to hold him out for the after the bye week. Austin Eckler, I believe this was his second concussion this year, if I'm not mistaken. So IR sounds about right for him, because we want to make sure he's good later on, and he needs to be able to take his time and get well. On the offensive line, I don't know if you noticed, Byron, but Cornelius Lucas played right tackle today. So that was different from what we normally do. So that means Andrew Wiley didn't play today. Usually Cornelius Lucas plays left tackle. And remember, he was going back and forth with Brandon Coleman, our rookie. Now Coleman is in a full-time role at left tackle, and Cornelius Lucas flipped to right tackle, which means Trent Scott is not really that guy. He's only in a need to emergency basis, because he's just not that. but Cornelius Lucas seemed to have played very well. I mean, you saw the running game. Usually, when you put up 200 plus yards in a running game, that probably means your offensive line did their job more often than not. So Andrew Wiley being out, I thought was going to hurt. That was another issue. Andrew Wiley and Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler being out, I was concerned about our offense. But Cornelius Lucas filling in at right tackle did amazing. Brian Robinson did phenomenal. And offensive line in the running game is the key to victory, at least on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm cool with how things played out today.
So Noah Brown, rib, was downgraded to out, but the bye week coming up, so I'm assuming we'll see guys like him and Marshawn Lattimore, Brian Robinson another week healthier, and at the end of the season, hopefully Austin Eckler back at some point. Crevonte, you put up 42 points to 19. Tennessee did have the number one defense, one of the number one defenses coming in, however you look at the numbers. Let's start with the QB1, Jaden Daniels, 25 of 30, talking about being the commander. He was very efficient, 3 touchdowns. He did throw a pick, was sacked twice, but using his legs also, 9 carries, 34 yards, getting a little more healthy. And with the bye coming up, much needed time for him to get some time to rest, and he looks more healthy each week.
Absolutely. Again, when that running game is on, Jaden Daniels will look, his game will elevate even more. 25 of 30 is pretty damn good. 5 incompletions, for the game is really, really good. Just picking your spots, man. And play action, read option, everything was on. But with that running game being effective, the playbook is wide open, and Jaden Daniels will look way more dynamic. And he threw the ball quite a bit to his favorite guy in Scary Terry. I think Scary Terry got into the end zone, well, at least twice, I think.
Yep, he scored twice. I think twice in the first quarter, Crevonte, if I remember correctly. He had 8 receptions, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ertz, as I mentioned, 8th season with 50 or more receptions, 3 for 35. Dimey Brown, 4 for 35. Noah Brown, 3 for 27. Zacchaeus, 3 for 14. Luke McCaffrey, 2 for 13. Brian Robinson, 1. Ben Sinnott. I mean, using a little bit of everybody. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 6, 8 different receivers today.
That's right. Spread the ball around. And Scary Terry. And my gosh, Cliff Kingsbury, what is so difficult? Scheme Terry open. Because he has the ability to do it. With him and Zach Ertz as a security blanket, Noah Brown being effective, Dommy Brown, he comes up on a stat sheet every 2 or 3 games. And Noah Brown actually went out this game. But you see what we're doing with, we don't have the best receiving core. We have a number one receiver, and then we have everybody else pretty much. And we have Zach Ertz at tight end, but as far as a receiving core, we don't have a great cast of guys. But Cliff Kingsbury, I know, has the ability to scheme these guys open, and with the effectiveness of the running game and the effectiveness and dynamics of Jaden Daniels, this is what we're capable of. Just think if we had a number 2 receiver, like a T. Higgins or something like that. Like this could be crazy, and we putting up 40 points now. You know what I'm saying? So this is a nice feel good. All right, let's get back on track. A good win going to the bye week. This is things are definitely looking up. And also, we had a really late bye week this week. It's like week 14 or something. A really late bye week. So I don't like having bye weeks that long, but I'd rather have it late than early. So we can kind of get healthy for this last little push going into December, but we're in December now for this last stretch of pretty much the last month of the season.
Let's get to the running game, Crevonte. Brian Robinson, we always talk about how good of a player he is. Just today, you guys drafted him. I told you would love this man. 16 carries, 103 yards, a touchdown. C-Rod, Chris Rodriguez got a touchdown. He was just cut and talked about him in the preview. He's back. 94 yards of his own. Jaden Daniels, 34. And then Jeremy McNichols, 32 yards. Dimey Brown even had a carry. 5.9 per attempt. Crevonte, I think you guys are like top 5 in yards per attempt on the ground as well. So much like with the Ravens and Derrick Henry, when you guys get the ball to Brown Robinson 15, 20 times a game, he's going to be able to run hard. And he's not easy to tackle either.
No, not at all. He showed a little bit of elusiveness, especially on that 40-yard scamper. But yeah, the running game. Listen, this is all predicated off the running game. If the running game is effective, this offense is going to do well. And I don't know if there's a number on penalties, but I didn't see many, so there wasn't no real drive killers either.
I'll get the penalty numbers for you. They should be in the team. I'll get those for you. But the offense moving forward, Crevonte, where can you see it going? Hopefully getting pretty much predominantly healthy. And I think you're okay with Brian Robinson being the number 1 back and having Rodriguez, of course, Daniels, McNichols all tied in to help out as well.
We need to find a way to keep C-Rod on the team, man, because he's really good. He doesn't get that many opportunities, but he's making the absolute most of what he's given, and he deserves a spot on this team. I don't know how he would get it, but he deserves a spot on this team. And I love Brian Robinson being the starter because he's a tone setter. The offensive line and him, if they set the tone like that, we can put up 30, a game or close to it. Because I know with this 42, I know it boosted our average a little bit. So looking at if we could put up about 30 points a game, that'll be good moving forward against pretty much whoever we play. Because there's not many teams averaging that many points in the NFL as it is now.
So you guys had how many penalties, Crevonte? 7 for 65. They had 12 for 93.
Yeah, they had a lot of. Well, the Titans had. My gosh, they were just shooting themselves in the foot, left and right. They had back-to-back kickoff fumbles, and I was just like, whoa. They and that again, special teams. You can win and lose the game, and they were losing the game before that, so that just dug themselves into a, they were down 28-0 before we could blink. So penalties is low, turnovers is low. It was 2-1. Oh, he didn't throw a pick, but they had 2 fumbles on special teams and he had to pick. So we won the turnover battle. We won the penalty battle. That's one thing we really don't talk about that a lot. And looks like we won on both sides of the offensive line, on both sides of the line of scrimmage. So, and dominated time possession.
Yeah, look at that time possession.
And dominated time possession. What's that? They only had the ball for what? That's pretty much a quarter.
1947 to 40
19 minutes. That's pretty much a quarter and a half the whole game. So, that's a recipe for winning. And we only punted 1 time. That's some win. That's winning football right there.
Crevonte, what did you think about the defense today? Let's go to the defense. Will Levis lives 8-37, 212, 2 touchdowns. You didn't get any picks off of him. He was sacked twice. Tony Pollard, 8 for 35. Only 11 carries, 35 yards. So the defense playing with a lead. They didn't have to worry about the run. Made him one-dimensional, 3.2 yards an attempt. Nick Westbrook, Ikeen. He's an unknown receiver, Crevonte, but that brother is a big-time player. Look out for him. 3 for 61. Had 2 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley, 2 for 45. We talked about in the preview containing him. Did a good job there. Tyler Boyd, 3 for 37. Pollard can catch as well. 4 for 33. Okonwu, former Maryland Terp, 3 for 27. Yep. Nothing really there to speak of as well. And then defensively, Bobby Wagner, 13th season of 100 or more tackles. Frankie Louvu has his 8th sack, career high. Who else? Keelan Farrell had a sack. Deron Payne getting it done. And who else had a sack? Luvu had a sack as well. So how do you think about the defense?
Defense played solid. This is a complete team win. And when the offense is clicking like that, the defense quickly the defense turns, basically pin their ears back, because we jumped on them so fast that we made the running game non-existent. So they only had the ball for like 19 minutes. So for probably 3 quarters, they were one-dimensional. So that's, again, a recipe for success. Play coverage, rush the passer. I mean, we only sacked him twice, but he wasn't, crazy accurate. He wasn't running around. He wasn't doing his, every now and then. Well, I say he's like a poor man, Josh Allen, and he did not show any. He didn't resemble Josh Allen at all, in this game. So the running game was non-existent because they kept giving us the ball on special teams, and we turned those into points. Like, I think all our points was touchdowns, right? 42. So we pretty much put up 6 touchdowns.
Yes.
So we didn't kick any field goals. So getting to the red zone, we're ranked pretty high when it comes to percentages of scoring in the red zone. So if you're giving us the ball and it's already on the opposing side of the field, you're pretty much giving us points. And once we go up 21-0, it's a wrap. Now ain't no running game, ain't no Tony Pollard. You're only passing the ball, and now we got some guys that could get in the backfield, and we don't got to worry about the run. So it's all pass rush. And Mike Sanders still, my gosh, that's my guy. And I know he's probably talking trash to Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown because they beat Ohio State. Michigan beat Ohio State. So I know he was probably talking trash to them. But my gosh, he had an amazing game today. And I think, crazy to think about it, he might be our cornerback too when Lattimore comes in. Mike Sanders still might be our cornerback too moving forward.
I was just about to say, Crevonte, he made a lot of plays on the screen. He was jumping out at you and all around in the passing game and the running game. That's kind of like I asked you with the offense. Where do you see this defense going? Because you're getting a Marshawn Lattimore back. You're going to get an upgrade there. And you already, like you said, have many sacks, but you did have some pressure. Say you made Levin move around. He's a guy who can move. Do you think this defense has the potential to get better? Obviously, with Lattimore coming back, and kind of from a Titans perspective, what is this, year 3 for Levis? What do you think about his upside with the Titans? Because they're going to be in the top 5 picking. So do they go quarterback?
Interesting. So defensively, upgrading the secondary is very important. Getting Benjamin, if you notice, Benjamin St. Juice not really getting playing time. Now his playing time has decreased as the weeks have gone on, which is great. Mike Lattimore coming in being a bona fide cornerback number 1 is going to be top tier. Mike Sanders still on the opposing side. It's going to make things a lot better, especially if we get clicking on offense. It's only helping the defense because look, our defense only played 19 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, pretty much any defense could look good if you're only on the field 19 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So being able to control the ball on offense helps the defense moving forward. But now we actually got a legit cover guy on the back end. So, well, 2 legit cover guys, because Mikey is a legit cover guy. So I like our defense moving forward, especially as we're getting healthier. So the defense, the sky, I'll say the sky's the limit. And you said the Titans are probably gonna have a top 5 pick next year.
Top three for sure. I mean, 3 or 4. I mean, the Giants, the Jaguars, maybe, and the Titans, maybe the Raiders. Those are your top 4. That's 4 right there.
Yeah, that's probably the top 4. Man, it's not that many quarterbacks, man. It's two guys. It's really only two guys, and pretty much outside of the Jaguars, all the other quarterbacks. I mean, all the other teams are pretty much quarterback needy. Giants, Raiders, Titans all need quarterbacks, and Jaguars is probably the only team that they'll take Travis Hunter at a heartbeat, and he'll play.
You sure, Crevonte? They passed on Aiden Hudson. You sure? Aiden Hudson was right there, and they took Trayvon Walker. Still don't understand it to this day.
The craziest thing. But that's one of the things you gotta be careful in the draft process, because guys come out of nowhere. Guys do pop out and come out of nowhere. And Trayvon Walker, I think he had a good combine, if I'm not mistaken. So you got to be careful of that. Just do your homework and trust what you see. Trust your scouting, because Aiden Hutchinson was right there. Aiden Hutchinson was there. And Travis Hunter has been the top guy in college football for at least the last 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So he's probably the number one prospect in coming out. He's the number one guy. Now, he's not a quarterback, so he's probably not going to go number one. But if the Jaguars are the number one or number two pick, Travis Hunter's the pick. Travis Hunter is the absolute pick. But the Titans is really only Shador and Cam Ward. You know what I'm saying? So if they're not top three, they pretty much the odd man out as far as getting a quarterback. So do you pivot and just go lineman and say, we're running back again? I don't know. I don't think Will Levis is the guy, but quarterbacks don't grow on trees, so you might got to stick with him for another year if you don't get a top 3 pick.
Real quick, Crevonte, heading into the bye week, you guys are now in the 7th spot. We talked about this during the preview. The NFC North, especially with the Vikings winning today, Packers winning on Thursday. You guys are a game and a half up on that final 7th spot. As we get ready to look ahead after the bye week, you guys have the Saints. How do you feel about that? Game and a half up with what? We're heading into 4 games left?
Yep. I feel pretty good because, like I said, down the stretch, we're not playing any top-notch quarterbacks going down the stretch. So I like our chances. One, if we're healthy. Health permitted. I think we'll be good, because we're not going up against any top-notch guys. Our defense will get better. Mikey's going to Marshawn Lattimore is going to come back right in time for the Saints game, which, he may or may not have a chip on the shoulder. Who knows? Derek Carr is not amazing. So we're going to have our opportunities. And also the Falcons, oh my gosh, Kirk Cousins, what's going on? Nothing. It's Kirk Cousins. And
he goes back to Minnesota next week, Crevonte.
Oh. So I know we have the Saints, the Falcons, Eagles, Cowboys. That's our last 4 games, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if we win 3 out of 4, you know what I'm saying? I think that's pretty much going to solidify our playoff spot. We could probably go 2-2, but 3 and 4 will probably be a little bit better to secure that spot. But
5 and 2 at home.
I like our chances staying in the 7th spot.
5 and 2 at home this season, Crevonte. You gotta love that as well.
Oh yeah, man. Listen, it hasn't been this hype in DC in a while. It hasn't been this hype in a while. And seeing the fans, you can see things are changing, things are turning around. So it's a good thing. So I like it moving forward. And also, I want that Cowboys game in Jerry World.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that game could be a Saturday or Sunday. I know there's some flexibility coming up, but a bye week nonetheless. I like the late bye, Crevonte, especially this time of year, because everybody's a little banged up. So helps out, and we'll see what happens. Like I said, with the Saints on the road, and still divisional matchups with the Eagles, Cowboys as well, and the Falcons. So, I mean, at this point, Crevonte, like I said, the Falcons are just going to Falcon. You want to go around the league real quick, Crevonte?
Let's do it.
Real quick, let's go to Thursday. Matt Eberflus probably is your goofy of the week, so I won't actually go too deep, but Lions get the win over the Bears, 23-20. I don't know what the hell happened at the end of that game. Lions just sometimes you got to be good, but you also got to have a little luck to win the championship. Crevonte and the Lions seem to have that the ball bounced the right way thing, like another team, which we'll talk about who is the
In
champion
AFC. Another team in AFC, right? The Lions, it's funny because the Lions jumped on them and then the Bears kind of came back. So again, a little luck.
Caleb looked good, Crevonte. He looked like the number one pick.
He's looking better. He's looking a lot better. So that's good. But again, I don't think Matt Eberflus should have been there. And he's lucky to have lasted this long. So I don't know. When was the last time a team fired their offensive coordinator and head coach in the same year?
True. That's a good question. Pretty much back-to-back weeks or within like 3 weeks of each other.
At least in the same month. Because I feel like it ain't been, what's been like 3 weeks, 4 weeks since since Waldron was fired. It ain't been I feel like they got fired in the same month.
Yep.
So Lions hold on, and the Lions, I think it's been a while since they've had this. I think they said 90 years since they've had
the 30s. I think that's the 30s.
Yeah, man, it's about 90. Yeah, we talking about 90 years since they've had 10 wins, since they've had double-digit wins going into Thanksgiving. 1934, as a matter of fact. So, yeah.
Cowboys Giants, kind of a Giants clinching the number one, or right there for the number one pick. Cowboys.
Yeah. Two backup quarterbacks. NFC East. It's about one possession win is about what I figured. Wasn't nothing much to talk about here.
And another goofy potential of the week, the Dolphins talking about is too cold. And I picked them losing to the Packers 30-17. The Packers along with the Vikings, man. NFC North, of course, with the Lions. Funny how they all pretty much showed out this past week. And you see one team going the other way of the other three.
Listen, man, you can't pick Tua going into the cold. Like there's no way. That's why they have a clear ceiling, and they paid him, Byron. They paid him. There's a clear ceiling. All the top-notch teams in AFC are in cold places, except for the Texans. Outside of that, you're going to have to see a Baltimore, Cincinnati, or Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Kansas City. It's too many cold places, and you can't trust him if it's cold and or windy.
Black Friday, Crevonte, you like the Black Friday games? I mean, the Raiders always play the Chiefs tough, man. Those divisional games, we always say throw the records out the window. I feel like Antonio Pierce may be added to that list also of coaches who will be fired also. But the Chiefs keep winning. Another lucky bounce.
That would be unfortunate if he gets fired, because he really got the short end of a stick, because he never had a quarterback. I would say give him an opportunity to get a guy at quarterback and see how he does. It would be very unfortunate for him to lose a job after this season. But yes, the Chiefs, remember, it's almost money. As I said this before, the Chiefs being heavy favorites go the other way because they don't cover. They're not a high-powered offense where they put up a whole bunch of points. They were favored by 13 points. Look at that score. Like, it's just
Raiders play hard. They play hard.
And on top of that, the Raiders do typically play the Chiefs hard, but the Chiefs don't cover. So if the Chiefs gonna win, it's gonna be by possession.
Yeah, I think they have the makeup of the team. Like you said, it's just the quarterback. They don't have a quarterback. But love to see Crosby all up in the grill of Patty Mahomes, not afraid to knock around the NFL's face. Not afraid.
You know,
he's
a maniac.
Yes. I think they are not goofy for not trading him. So shout out to them for keeping them, trying to get around him. Texans squirmish, another victory, Crevonte. A divisional game, though, so I'll give him a little grace, 23-20. Now, a big hit on Trevor Lawrence. He just came back. He's hurt again, hip injury. CJ Stroud, 1 touchdown today, no turnovers, but the Texans 8-5. They pretty much won this division already. Like I said, they're going to be the 4th seed. Do you have a high ceiling for the Texans? Can they? I mean, let's say they match up with, let's say the Ravens don't win the AFC North, and they're the highest wild card. I mean, do you have faith that the Texans can beat a Ravens team as the highest wild card, or I don't know, maybe a Pittsburgh if the Ravens win the division, or one of those teams possibly?
No, just because they are still inexperienced at a couple key positions. Head coach and quarterback. And they are not as high powered as we thought they would be with Stephon Diggs being out. I don't know. Is Collins and Tank Dell, are they good to go? Like, or are they still lingering injuries?
Collins had over 100 yards today, so 8 for 119.
So Collins had a day.
Yeah, Collins is good. I'm trying to pull up the box score to get an idea, but Collins had over 100 yards today. Collins had 8 for 119. Tank Dell, he had a catch. All Schultz, so they all healthy. Looks like.
Okay.
He just no Stephon Diggs, no Diggs, just no Diggs, man.
Right. Yeah, because Diggs, he's not coming back.
Yep.
I think he's done. He's done for the season. And on defense, Derek Stingley Jr. and Anderson. These are some key guys that have to be healthy moving forward, but they're going to lose in the experience category pretty much whoever they play. So I don't think of course they have a shot, but I'm not picking them against anybody who they play, and they're going to have home field. That's the best part, but I'm not picking them against any of them.
Commanders already over the Titans 42-19. The Jets, Crevonte, a late game pick 6, and Leonard Williams was bumbling, and stumbling. His former team that drafted him, by the way, 92 yards for a pick 6. Mike McDonald's Seahawks seem to be in a driver's seat. We'll talk about the other teams later in the NFC West, and he's a candidate for coaching.
That's one big son of a bitch!
Listen.
No water. Yes.
Nah, he needed water. Nah, he needed water after that. He needed water. He needed oxygen.
Finger licking good special.
He ate because he got to the promised land of all defenders. That's the promised land, being able to score a touchdown. So he did eat in that regard, but he needed oxygen and he needed water. But what a play. And shout out to Mike McDonald. We knew he's a great defensive mind, but we wasn't sure how he was going to fare as a head coach. It looks like things are going well. And they are now, with the loss to the Cardinals, looks like they are in the driver's seat in the division, which is crazy this late in the season. And the Jets are always the Jets. So there's that.
I said it. I asked Dre earlier in the pregame show for the Ravens. Are the Jets the least desired team to coach in football? You don't want to coach that team, right, Crevonte? They don't have anything to go there to coach.
So it's funny because the Jets is very undesirable. And the Bears are also undesirable as well. But the Jets, it's funny because they're both poorly managed as far as staff is concerned. They are both poorly managed, but the New York media is way worse than Chicago. So yeah, you can say that the Jets are the most undesirable.
And they got some young talent too, Crevonte. It's sad because by the time they are any type of relevant, if they do somehow, some way over the next couple of years, they're gonna have to pay Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall. They're gonna have to pay these guys, and you're not gonna be able to pay all these guys, especially if you need. I don't know who's going to be your quarterback next year. You're not going to be picking in, you're 3-9. Maybe you could end up in the top 5. Maybe that could be the 15 Crevonte. They could maneuver to get a quarterback. I don't know.
They're going to trade. They're going to trade up. I don't know how they're going to be able to wheel and deal. That's one thing about the Bears. At least Ryan Poles knows how to wheel and deal to draft. I don't know what the Jets are going to do because they're pretty much in that spot when you need a quarterback, and this draft class is not really quarterback heavy. You're in no man's land pretty much after the 4th pick. So, I mean, at that point, do you pick up more draft picks to try to get better, or do you swing for a quarterback? Tough position to be in. But 9 times out of 10, the Jets are going to pick wrong. Yeah,
that Zach Wilson pick set them back a couple of years. And we said it would. We kind of called it. Yep. We ain't right about everything, but we all kind of was on agreement about that. Anyway,
hey man, we do all right on the drafts, man. we do all right on the draft. So
that's one I
yeah,
know.
Zach Wilson, I was not for that pick. I was like, ooh, y'all reached real bad. And 2, y'all reached real bad.
Well, the Colts reach for Anthony Richardson. He gets a big road win, 25-24 over the Patriots as Shane Steichen for 2. And the former Eagles offensive coordinator, him and Jonathan Gannon, we'll get to in a second, doing a great job at their respective locations. I think they are there for the long haul for those teams.
Yo, that's a gutsy call, but that's what you're supposed to do. That is what you're supposed to do when you are on the road and it's basically the last play of the game. Basically going for the win or going for the tie. Go for the win, man. You the road team, man. Forget it, man. Go for it. And it ended up working out. And Anthony Richardson is looking a lot better because listen, I mailed it in on him. Him and Will Levis are in the same category to me. You know what I'm saying? So
I wasn't a fan coming out. Thought it was too early.
Me neither. Absolutely. It was absolutely too early. Too much raw talent and I'm sure all the Colts were saying is like, oh my gosh, Cam Newton. That's probably all they were saying. And I'm like, I don't think so. So he is playing better. I will say that. But I'm not sure if he's the guy moving forward, but they picked up a crucial clutch win on the road. So good play, good call by the head coach to go for 2 in the end and picked up the W. He's rewarded with a W.
Real quick, Crevonte, Drake May. I know the Patriots are 3-10. I don't really know how deep this draft is on offensive talent, in my opinion. Not blowing me away yet. We'll see. But Drake May, 24 32, 38, 1 touchdown, had a beautiful 40-yard run, ended with 59 yards rushing. Former Commander Antonio Gibson out there as well. The Patriots need offense, but Drake May seems to be the guy in New England, and we liked him. We liked him.
Hey, listen, man, he wasn't Jaden Daniels, and he wasn't Caleb Williams. That was clear, and I feel like people put that against him. They put that as a knock against him. He didn't have any. He pretty much got the same team he had in North Carolina. That's really what it is. Like 2 years ago, when he had both his running backs, had Dami Brown, or maybe whenever after Sam Howell left, he took over. That first team was really good. Then he lost his guys to the draft, and then he had no talent. Nobody re-up in recruiting. They didn't do well, so it was him or bust. And he looks like he's in the same situation. He's a good quarterback. You just got to have some talent, some type of talent around him. We're in the NFL now. You got to have some type of talent around him. But I like him for their future moving forward.
Vikings 10-2, Crevonte. Cardinals almost had it. I think it's the field goal. They would have won. They would have been up 2. But of course, special teams. Cardinals 6-6. It's going to be tough to get into the playoffs because they pretty much have to win that division. But the Vikings look secure as possibly the highest wild card. Don't want to see them in round 1. So could that be a Seahawks Vikings matchup, maybe something like that?
Interesting. Who would be in that 4th spot? Would the South or the West be in
it
that
would be
spot?
probably it might be the South because according to the standings, let's look at the standings real quick. I would say the South 6-6 and the West 5. So it would be South right now. So it probably will be the South, Crevonte, because the Buccaneers still could win that division.
Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. The Vikings, unfortunately, the Lions are killing it right now. So their best spot would be that 5th spot, that highest wild card, and so they'll probably be going on the road. But shoot, at this point, Falcons or the Bucks, I think I would lean Vikings in each of those matchups, depending on Mike Evans' health for the Bucks. But I definitely like the Vikings against the Falcons if that was to happen. But the Vikings squeaked away a win. This was a much needed win to at least try to keep pace with the Lions, even though I think they're going. The Lions pretty much got the conference wrapped up, let alone the division. But it was close. It was close. It was not. It was hard fought. It was that this was not an easy win. And of course, the Cardinals had some errors on their end, but the Vikings able to win at home, much needed.
Up in Cincinnati, Russell Wilson cooked with a meal that was worth a Thanksgiving feast. Crevonte, 414 yards, 3 touchdowns, career day. And the Steelers offense looks like the Bengals offense, 44-38. Bengals, I think they are officially done, 4-8. Steelers 9-3. Big win for the Steelers as they have a tough schedule looking to win the North.
Great big divisional win on the road. And again, what I tell you, there's a couple things that are consistent. Mike Tomlin and the Steelers being underdogs, 3.5 underdog. They think they was 3.5 point underdogs. Take the Steelers, and I wasn't even saying take them to win, just take them to cover at least. But usually they come out winning straight out. The Steelers putting up 44 points is kind of crazy because when the last time they did that? So offensive, we already know what they are defensively, and I guess it didn't look that great defensively today because they they gave up 38 points. Looks like Joe Burrow had 3 touchdowns and a pick, 300 yards, and I didn't give up nothing crazy on the ground, but they gave up 38 points. Now we know the Steelers and the Bengals when it's a divisional matchup, it could get it gets like this, but Steelers putting up 44 points. Is crazy. And I owe Russell Wilson and Mike Tomlin, I owe them an apology because I thought Mike Tomlin was tripping, taking out Justin Fields, and he was pretty much, on a roll, and subbed him in for Russell Wilson. I was like, oh man, I don't like this at all. And I thought Russell Wilson's career was pretty much a wrap. It's not. He's playing very good football right now, and the Steelers are very scary. The Steelers are either going to be win North or be the highest wild card. But either way, you don't want to play them. Road, home, it doesn't matter. You do not want to play the Steelers.
Falcons going Falcons, Crevonte, and the Chargers going to find a way to win. Actually, under Jim Harbaugh, 8-4, they look like possibly a wild card team as well. So they could even be the highest wild card. So you can have a Houston LA matchup. They're 8-4. Cousins 4 picks. Excuse me. He threw another one. And yeah.
As we're talking, I thought the game was over. He's still throwing picks.
I mean, come on, this guy.
It's funny because the Chargers usually be Charger and 2. So 2 teams that can usually implode on themselves pretty much. The Chargers are not a team that's going to blow you out crazy or put up a whole bunch of points, but they play pretty good defense. And, Justin Herbert, I like the ball in his hands because I think he's going to make the right decision more often than not. But God damn it, Kirk Cousins, my gosh, they are. I don't know, man. I think they're losing their footing on that division because the Bucs might catch them, and I think the Bucs are playing down if I'm not mistaken, but. The Bucs can definitely catch them, and the Falcons are falconing at the wrong time.
What's going on, little Dallas Cowboy? Rush hour? Yeah, rush hour on Thursday, so we'll see. We got the Eagles, Ravens right now, Crevonte. Panthers, Bucs tied at 10. I did pick the Panthers, and the Saints, Rams 6-0 right now. So Rams need a win as well.
Man, I think I picked the Rams. Yeah, I picked the Rams to win that game. So, now looking great for this, second half window. The Eagles are the Eagles in the red zone? Is that why the ball's red?
Yes, they are at the 17. They are.
All right, so they're in the red zone, so they need to score. It looks like they've held the Ravens with that. They had a missed field goal. I mean, missed extra point.
I'm about to. I'm literally recording the game to watch back when we get to after this.
Because I think because it was 3-0 at one point. So I think did Justin Tucker missed the extra point?
Oh, he did. Yes, he did. 0 for 1.
Yeah, because I saw it was 3-0 at first, and then I see I think Lamar threw a touchdown. So
boy.
Justin Tucker, yeah, I don't know if it was blocked or not, but that's not good.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, that's not good moving forward. So I don't know. That's not good. Going into these cold months, Byron, Justin Tucker, ugh.
I just literally talked about it with Dre before the game. I said it's cold outside, it's windy. Do you trust him to make kicks? Not only do you miss a kick, he missed an extra point, which is easier than the. Okay.
Ugh. Yeah.
They're going to make a kick to win a game. It could be today.
Yeah. Oh, the Eagles just scored. Looks like.
Jalen Hurts to Dallas Goedert. There you go.
There you go. I figured that this would be a fun matchup to follow, but I mean, if the Ravens could beat the Eagles, that'd be great. That'd be great for my Commanders, because we still have an outside chance of winning the division. But
we said it today. We went over the Eagles' schedule. They haven't played anybody.
Hey man,
I mean, we were looking at that. We were like, well, who have they played? The Ravens, the toughest team they played. They played the Packers in week 1, lost to the Falcons, the Saints, Buccaneers, Browns, Giants, Bengals, Jaguars, Cowboys, you guys, and the Rams. So they play like 2 or 3 teams, depending on who you ask.
Yeah. So us as a division, we played the North. We played the AFC North. So that's the hardest competition. This is their hardest game of the year, and they haven't played the Steelers yet, right?
Nope, that's coming up in 2 weeks. So they got the Panthers, Steelers, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants, and the Ravens.
Yeah, so the Ravens and the Steelers will be their hardest games. Other than that, yeah, you're right. They haven't played. They really ain't played nobody crazy yet. So yeah, so they gotta rack up some loss, some L's so we can catch them. But it's looking like a long shot.
Do you believe in Sirianni? I asked Dre earlier. I know he's 9-2. I think only like Tony Dungy, Bill Belichick. It's like certain coaches have only gone 9-2 3 times. He's been 9-3 straight years. You still don't believe in him?
Nope. I think excuse me. He has a really talented roster, arguably the most talented roster in the NFL, and he finds ways to jack it up every single time. Like situationally, not great. He looks like he does not have control of the locker room. I don't think the guys are really following his lead. He had 2 really great coordinators that he lost after they lost the Super Bowl. And yeah, he's winning, but I don't think he's the guy moving forward. But unfortunately, they're probably gonna be stuck with him, because firing your coach after a winning season is kind of crazy. But I guess it depends on how they lose, when they lose in the playoffs. But nah, I don't believe in them.
Tonight we got Bills hosting the 49ers in the snow, and on Monday, buckle your seatbelts, Crevonte, Browns and Broncos. Jameis Winston.
That might be crazy. That game might be crazy. It's in Denver, so I wonder what Jameis Winston has to say for his pregame speech for the altitude. I'm interested to see what he's gonna have to say, but it might be. Well, he had a good game last week.
Yeah, might be bad Jameis this week. It
might be bad Jameis on Monday night. Not under the lights, but I like Bo Nix though. I like Bo Nix and the Broncos to win, but it should be an interesting game. And you know, Jameis Winston's a walking soundbite, so be very interesting to see what he has to say going into that game.
If the Broncos can win this games, they would be 8-5. So we could have 3 AFC West teams in the playoffs. Chiefs, of course, Chargers and Browns. They have the Browns, Colts. They play the Chargers again, Bengals and Chiefs. So the Broncos can get to 10 wins. I think they have a legit shot.
Damn! Wow, that's crazy. Broncos 10 wins. You couldn't have sold me on that at the beginning of the year, because I think what was their total, like 6.5, something like that.
6 at max.
Something like that. And they got a chance to get 10 is crazy. So I'm not a fan of how Sean Payton got Russell Wilson up out of there, but he is a pretty good coach, and he's good with quarterbacks. So it's working out well for them now, and the Broncos defense is pretty solid. So they'll be all right. I don't know if they make any noise, but because they'll end up playing who's number two, the Bills. They'll end up playing the Bills probably if they can't get that second spot. So good luck with that.
All right, Crevonte, before we get out of here, I did want to talk about, I mentioned to you yesterday, college football, another crazy week. We're heading towards the playoffs, which we will be for. I think that's next week for the playoff selection show at the conference championship game. So that's next Sunday night. So we'll be live at 8, 9 p.m. The game yesterday, Crevonte, Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan, however you want to frame. Michigan, no quarterback, no offensive, really firepower like last season or previous seasons. The Ohio State, number 2 team in the country, looking to head back to the Big Ten championship game to face Oregon. They fall for the 4th straight year, 13-10. New coach Shamar Moore getting the what's his name? Moore, but Moore for the Wolverines. 4th straight win. He gets his validation. Ohio State saying, you guys can't cheat this year. 13-10, turnovers doomed the Ohio State Buckeyes. Is it time for Ryan Day to go? Are you guys going to make the playoffs? How are you feeling, Crevonte? 4th straight year of Ohio State falling to Michigan in the rivalry.
Unbelievable. First of all, this was a crazy week, a crazy rivalry week. Everybody's fighting. Everybody's fighting everywhere. Like, the rivalry thing is what we love about college football. And I feel like something crazy is about to come down from the NCAA. I hope it's not too crazy, because this is what college football is about now. We don't want people getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? We don't want all these brawls happening. But that's kind of what it's about. But now, Ryan Day, you can't lose this game. You can't lose this game. This is like Jim Harbaugh was getting grief. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the game. No matter how good your team is, you got to beat them. You got to beat Ohio State. And Ohio State, Ryan Day, you got to beat Michigan. Especially when they don't got nobody. They don't got nothing. And losing, you was favored by 20.5 points. Absolutely not. You cannot. Like, the only way to overcome this is to win everything. I do think they'll make the playoffs. The only way to overcome this is to win the national championship. That's the only way to overcome this. If they don't win the national championship, he's probably on his way out. Because we put a lot up against playing Michigan. We put a lot on that. You can lose to anybody. And I do mean anybody. Cannot lose to them. And it's funny because both my teams lost to rivals who they shouldn't have lost to. And my Commanders losing to the Cowboys with Cooper Rush. And Ohio State losing to Michigan with Keith Sweat. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? Nobody over there. And they lost. And they put that flag down there and it got crazy. So very disappointing. It's definitely goofy of the week caliber.
What did you think about the altercation, Crevonte? I mean,
I understand it's a hated rivalry and there's a lot of pushing and all that going back and forth, but it gets to be a little too much because we all know how it goes. If you lose, they're gonna stick that flag on your field. That's what happens. Like, Ohio State got to take that on the chin and move on. Ain't nothing to fight about. You lost. And you lost, losing at home. You know they bring that flag out. It happens all the time. Happens all the time. You can't get mad and upset at it and want to fight. And I understand like it's a thin line between like rivalries and like sportsmanship. It's a really thin line, but we can't start no brawl after the game over. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all time to fight was in between the first quarter and the fourth quarter. Once the game's over, you gotta let that go.
We'll see, Crevonte, next week. Can you believe the first official college football playoff bracket teams? We saw Miami lose, as mentioned. Like, so that's crazy this past week for rivalry week. Georgia, 8 overtimes against Georgia Tech?
Yeah. Georgia, barely survived. That was scary.
Yes. And the Michigan football coach, I said Sharon Moore. Excuse me for that.
Like, hey, Sharon Moore doing it, man. That's a hell of a resume.
You beat Ohio State, man. That'll give you job security no matter how bad your season is. And they got the number one quarterback in Michigan, number one quarterback coming in, 5-star guy.
And there it goes. And there you go. Now next year you're back at it. Now you're really gonna be ready for Ohio State. Now, Ryan Day, you're jacked up. You messed up. The only way to overcome this, you got to win the championship. You have to win the championship now.
And your former quarterback, Kyle McCord, leads the nation in passing. I think he has like the most yards. I think he has the most yards. Because remember, he's with Syracuse, who beat Miami, and he was throwing the ball all over Miami's defense. Their defense is terrible. Cam Ward can't do so much.
Man, it's a wild game, man. It's definitely a wild game, man. I guess, man. But I am excited to see the first bracket, 12-team bracket. So Ohio State will find their way in there, I'm sure. But it's going to be interesting to see where they put Colorado if Colorado makes it. You know what I'm saying? And the Notre Dames, Miami, do they still have a shot? It's a lot of teams on a bubble, so we'll see.
Bye week, Crevonte. I'm sure we'll have something this week. We'll probably get together and do something for the bye week.
Sure. Ravens, it's 9-7 now. So that'll be interesting. So y'all to be back on for the post game for that. But bye week, yeah, we'll have something. I'm sure hopefully Lattimore will look better and we get healthy, but we'll definitely have something.
Yes, as Crevonte mentioned, we will be live after the Ravens and Eagles. Hopefully for Crevonte State, a Ravens win to help out the Commanders' chance as they still get to play the Eagles as well. Bye week this week, but we'll have a bye week stream, probably midweek, recap on what's going on during the bye, anything of note, injuries, how players are progressing, kind of what's going on, news around the team during the bye week if there's anything. And back in 2 weeks with the official Washington Commanders post-game show live as they head to New Orleans, Crevonte, so it'll be easy. So I'm sure the Commanders fans will show up for that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We seem to be traveling pretty well, especially now that, folks are winning now. And we're one win away from having a winning record. So this is good, man. This is going to be all right. So, yeah.
They're double-digit wins. You're on your way.
Well on the way. I don't know if we get to 11, but 10 is in sight.
Yes, Commanders defeat the Titans 42-19, improve to 8-5. 3-9 on Titans. We do this every week. Previews and post-game shows will be live for the Ravens post-game show. We did a pre-game show earlier. We got a preview for that. Got a preview for this game. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Episode 468 of the podcast tomorrow. Check us out as well. We were live for Survivor Series, live for SmackDown, and we'll be back live tomorrow. And the rest of the week, back to normal as well. End of your Thanksgiving weekend. The only way we know how, only place giving you sports Crevonte how you want it.
When you need it.
The Commanderlorain, gentleman right next to me, the co-founder of this podcast and senior producer. You got your shirt on today, Crevonte, for the good people.
Oh, no!
There he is.
Oh, no!
There you go.
Oh, no!
Oh, man, I love it. Well, for Crevonte, y'all's favorite host, signing off. We'll see you with more Commanders content and later on for the Ravens Eagles post-game show. Throw your ones up, acknowledge us to Flex on One, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and Flex on Podcast on TikTok, Cash App, Flex on One, flexon1@gmail.com. You can super chat, hit the like button, vote on a poll, Let us know how many wins the Commanders will have. For Crevonte, we're signing out. Have a good night. We'll see you later for more content on the channel. Peace.